Arthur C. Clarke, científico, escritor, visionario. El científico que inventó el satélite de comunicaciones. El escritor de 2001, Odisea del espacio. Y ahora, en su retiro en Sri Lanka, el visionario que examina los enigmas de este y otros mundos.
This is the editorial office of The Sun, one of Sri Lanka's most popular newspapers. The journalists behind me are writing up tomorrow's edition. Stories of politics, sports, human interest, the kind of material that sells newspapers all over the world. But there's one kind of story that The Sun thrives on, that you'll hardly ever see in the Western press. And there are bulging files on it here. These are stories of reincarnation. They tell of young children who, often as soon as they can speak, talk about their real parents and their other homes. They seem to recall previous lives, often in such detail that they not only provide good copy for local journalists, but they persuade researchers all over the world that there's a phenomenon here worth investigating. Here's a story of a little boy, Ajit, who remembers drowning 5 years ago. And here is a story about a little 5-year-old girl who thinks she's a man who was killed in a road accident. But the story which most fascinates me is one that comes from the place I love most in Sri Lanka, the beautiful little bay of Unawatuna on the shores of the Indian Ocean. The story is a tragic reminder of Sri Lanka's brief but bloody insurrection of 1971. A captured rebel, a young man named Robert, leapt to his death into the sea. His close companion, Johnny, had already been killed. These twin girls were not born until 7 years later, yet almost as soon as they could speak, they claimed to be reincarnations of Johnny and Robert. Shiromi recounts gruesome details of Johnny's death. Shivanti says she remembers leaping into the sea with her wrists wired together. Such stories are intriguing, but for them to be accepted as evidence of reincarnation, every detail must be checked by a trusted investigator.
Journalist Delreen Vijayaratne covers many reincarnation stories. The latest comes from a jungle village, Pethiyagada. In this case, 4-year-old Inoka is the child who claims to have lived before. The story goes that when she first began to talk, Inoka told her mother, Rita Sriyani, that she had another family. They lived in a town called Minawangada. She claimed to remember having 2 sisters and a brother. They lived in much less primitive surroundings. Their house had running water and electricity. Inoka's mother says she'd never believed in reincarnation, and she certainly wasn't going to trek 6 miles through the jungle to Minawangada to check Inoka's claims. But Inoka's grandmother, Kiriyama, did listen to the tales of the little girl, and in the end was persuaded to take her to Minawangada. They soon discovered that 8 years before, an 11-year-old girl called Milani had died in a motorbike accident. She'd had 1 brother and 2 sisters, and they'd lived in this modern house. It all fitted Inoka's description. When she was taken there, her first reactions amazed her mother, Rita Sriyani.
She was no stranger in that house, and her first question was, "Where's my doll?" She started calling the mother of her previous life, Mummy, and Rita Sriyani was quite unhappy about it. And she was asking for all the toys of her previous birth.
The girls say Inoka knew their names the first time she came to play. And she went straight to this cupboard for the dead girl's suitcase of toys. She identified Milani's photograph as my picture, and she calls Mrs. Godagampala her real mother.
And what difference did Inoka's
So the strange claims Inoka made when she began to speak have brought great happiness to a family that no longer mourns.
Till now the concept was that the brain is the producer of consciousness and the producer of memories. And when you study near-death experience, then you have to say, well, we have to reconsider this concept. And perhaps we should consider the brain not as a producer, but as a receiver of consciousness. And that's a kind of revolution.
En un estudio científico basado en múltiples casos de SM, o experiencias cercanas a la muerte en pacientes con paro cardíaco, recientemente publicado en la prestigiosa revista británica de ciencias, The Lancet, enormes descubrimientos científicos revelados por la sostenida investigación clínica del Dr. Pim van Lommel están atreviéndose a sugerir lo imposible, de que hay sólida evidencia científica de que la mente continúa viva después de que el cerebro cesa de funcionar. La investigación médica ha probado, bajo una rígida metodología, lo impensable, de que la mente no es producto del cerebro. Los importantes hallazgos del Dr. van Lommel indican que la conciencia no está localizada dentro de nuestro cuerpo físico. Estos descubrimientos sugieren de una manera determinante que la memoria y los procesos de pensamiento deben estar ocurriendo afuera del cuerpo físico. Es decir, el cerebro es meramente un transmisor, más que un receptáculo del pensamiento y la memoria. Entonces, ¿dónde es que la memoria y el pensamiento se llevan a cabo? Podría ser en ese ser sublime, intangible e incorpóreo al que llamamos espíritu.
One of the patients in Dr. van Lommel's study was a man who had been found in a meadow, having suffered a heart attack. He was brought to hospital where the medical team carried out extensive cardiopulmonary resuscitation, during which time he displayed all 3 signs of clinical death. His heart and breathing had stopped, and his pupils dilated.
Shocking!
When the patient was stabilized, he remained in a coma for 1 week.
And after 1 week, he came back on the cardiac ward, and the nurse who was there during the resuscitation came in for the first time to give him medication, and the patient said, "You were the one who was there when I was brought in."
You were there when they brought me into the hospital. You took the dentures out of my mouth and put them on that cart. It had all these bottles on it. There was a sliding drawer underneath, and there you put my teeth.
And the nurse was flabbergasted. He said, "This is not possible. Possibly this patient was in deep coma, couldn't see anything." But the patient told him that he could see everything from above his body. So during the period of coma, he could perceive in a position out and above his body.